Bildy here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's snowing outside here. That's something that doesn't happen as often as you might think where I live in Crimea. I'm going to try to get a good picture of this here. Oh, it quit. No, it's still coming down. It was snowing really heavy. There was nothing on the ground just a few minutes ago. Lovely. Lovely that. I like snow. Well, what are we going to talk about today, Uncle Bildy? I don't know. Let's just wing it. I wrote a book. I wrote a book a long time ago called, the title is Unified Separatism. An unfortunate title, but I don't know why I named it that. I thought it'd be unique. It is too, because if you Google it, it comes right up, which is nice, but it's not good for sales. And it's political theory, which is really not good for sales, but it's interesting, and I think it's political theory from a blue-collar perspective, someone who's been in giant corporations and I don't just see things. You notice I'm kind of not focused very well. I see big pictures and I recognize patterns. There's different people have different aspects and different talents, and that's how I roll. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. It follows me everywhere I go. It's what I do. I recognize patterns and I see things and I check them out, and I maybe even do a few little experiments and probes to see how things react, and I study that reaction. I figure out how things are going. I've been a millwright and I've been in all kinds of companies, big companies, and I see what they're doing. And I see the corporate takeover of your government and your institutions and for their own profit, and it's just, there's no bottom to it. The sea spreads widely, and you're starting to see the far reaches of what they want to do, and it's horrifying. They're creating hell on earth if they're not stopped. Your children, at least, maybe your grandchildren, their lives are going to be horrifying if these people get what they want.
But it's all wonderful because you'll be living in the new, the Great Reset in the New World Order, and you'll live in smart cities. You don't even have to think. Well, no, of course you won't. You won't have to think if you get a lobotomy either. You'll be a servo. You'll be a human servo. But anyway, that's not what my book's about. It kind of goes there with a little bit of the elites. Elites. Who are the elites? People that consider themselves the owners of the planet by virtue of who they are. In the monarchical system, which wasn't that long ago and still exists in some places, it was birthright. It was the king and his administration, people down to the nobles and peers and all the posh twits and high class twits that Monty Python portrayed so well. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm tapping again. I've got to stop myself from tapping. Somebody commented that their dog went nuts when I tap stuff. Sorry, hope he doesn't do any damage. I'll try not to do that. Calm down, Fido. Anyway, I learned not to fidget. What gives somebody the right to rule over you? Their ancestors murdered your ancestors and took their estates? Well, that's pretty much how it's been working. It hadn't always been that way. It was established under the authority of the church in Western Europe, and all it's been corrupted. It might have been great at one time. It probably was. And started to see some of that stuff. Some of the stuff that they built was magnificent. And I don't think there are any blueprints. I think people were just inspired and cooperated and built cathedrals. Show me evidence there were blueprints. I build things about blueprints and it works better, but I'm not allowed to, in America on an official sense, because you can't use intuition to do things and change what you're doing. You have to make a plan and design it all out and submit it to authorities and have them approve it, and then you have to stick to the plan. That's not the way you do things that are complex. Not the way a single individual does something, or even committees. One company I worked for, we came up with some brilliant designs. We built automated equipment. They're still using it as far as I know, no problems. It's been in use for years, and it's genius. We would have meetings where we'd hash things out on the fly. Then when we started making it, we had to change some things. When you got a huge bureaucracy sitting on your head, you can't do that. When you have
bean counters and minders and people with engineering degrees that have memorized some principles and that they don't understand are coming in and interfering with you. It's awful. It takes all the joy out of things. I got some stories about engineers that are freaking hilarious. I've painted things using trompe l'oeil techniques to fool them into thinking that something was straight, that they demanded to be straight, which physically couldn't be and work. But that's another story. Anyway, please forgive me, I just lost sight of what I was talking about. Oh yeah, my book, Political Architecture. What my book is about is political power and the power of coercion. Who has the right to coerce you to do something? Who has the right to shape society? Right now, okay, we got rid of monarchy. Well, we have democracy. No, you don't. Corporations have captured all your institutions and subverted it. Who owns the corporations? If you do some research, if some people have, and I've studied this and I see it, a lot of the corporations are owned by old European money. The monarchy never went away. Really didn't. They're still running things. Why do you have the right to rule over me, Lord What's-Your-Face? Well, you see, the thing is my grandmother was a marquis, and, well, it was her great uncle was the second Viscount of Tewkesbury. No, that's not right. It's her grandfather was the second Viscount of Tewkesbury. And her uncle was the Baron of Kent. So that entitles me to shape your reality any way I see fit and manage the world through my project managers. And funding this and funding that and taxing you and recouping my funding and charging interest. And it's a system because I'm superior to you. It's the survival of the wisest, you see, and all that. And you'll go along with it and be happy because I can pay for influencers, and you are so easily influenced, you stupid little people. When I see your YouTube videos, I see you people doing, what do you call them, burnouts. You're wasting my resources. You have no right to do that. If you're breathing my air and drinking my water and eating my food, then you're going to do what I say, and the new economy will bring that about. And without any loopholes, you will do it. Oh, I'm sorry. I kind of got into the character a little too much. Well, how do I know they're like that? I read their books. They tell you this. They tell you what they're doing. They do it, and they couch it in benevolent language, but you can, if you just write down their goals, that's what they want to do. In their TED Talks, they have their little project managers and influencers like Elon Musk and who else are the super geniuses? Elon Musk. Look at his Wikipedia. Who is it? Where did he come from? Well, he dropped out of college and started his own company and sold it the next year for billions of dollars. And then they hired him. They put him on a research department of a Fortune 500 company. They're just loosely associated with shell groups owned by the CIA and all that, but that doesn't matter. And he comes up with all this technology because he's a super genius and he has an IQ of hundreds. And you better listen to what he says. You know, and he has this family and everything. He's a family guy. He puts the photographs of him with his wife that kind of look like they don't want to touch each other, and they got 5 kids because you look at the background, there's 5 bicycles. There's no record of those kids though. Somebody's done a lot of research on this. Is Miles Mathis? He has a very amusing piece on Miles Mathis. Is on Elon Musk. I think the title of it is I don't believe in Elon Musk. Elon Musk is he's a figurehead, like Ronald McDonald. He's like Burger King, like Wendy. He's contrivance. He's the face of a money laundering operation. He gets billions of dollars of government money to support Tesla, whatever his little silly electric cars are. He's a Ronald McDonald of money laundering. Really. And his Space program? Really? Yeah. That's your money. Oh, you got to have electric cars. That's why they're strip mining Afghanistan, but until they got kicked out. Now the Chinese get it. We have to buy it from them. But all the rare earth minerals and stuff are for electrifying everything and making it completely accountable to the Internet of Things. Sorry, I did it again. That's what it is. Everything hooked up to the Internet of Things, so you don't have any control over it. So if you're not a good boy, they'll shut your car off and lock you out of your house. That's what they plan, and I'm not just pulling this out of my whatever stuff. Oh, you got that from some tinfoil hat on the internet? No, I got it from their speeches and their TED talks and their books that they write. That's what they plan to do, and you're letting them do it. Your kids, your grandkids, their lives are going to be horrifying. This is not good. None of it is. But they're front groups. They're fictions. It's not what it seems. They put them there to tell you what they want you to think. Stephen Hawking was one. Miles Mathis did a good job on him. Miles Mathis is a little odd, but it's pretty good information. Look into it. It's unequivocal. He backs it up with documents and facts. Stephen Hawking, he really lived like 40 years or more with Lou Gehrig's disease. They switched him out at least once. A portrait artist analyzed a face. These are two different people. The old Stephen Hawkins and the new one. Yeah. And used the voice thing so you couldn't analyze his voice and see it was a different guy. It's a puppet telling you what they want you to hear. Oh, he's a super genius. Better listen to him. He'll tell you how the universe works. You can figure out how the universe works yourself if you're dedicated. Study ancient metaphysics to tell you something that makes more sense than anything Stephen Hawking tells you. They just used a lot of metaphor and symbolism to describe it, and that throws people off. They believe that the world's sitting on a turtle's back. Oh, what a bunch of idiots. You don't know what that means. You have no idea what they were talking about. You have to study it. You have to understand the language. If you're really interested in that stuff, a good primers for it are on Ken Wheeler's website. I don't agree with everything he says, but he is foremost expert on ancient Pali. He understands and translates ancient Greek. He's one of the foremost experts on magnetism. He isn't peer-reviewed. They don't want him in the academies because he says things that contradict what they say, but what he says makes a lot more sense. And he's in agreement with people, I don't know, dumbasses like Nikolai Tesla, Roger Boscovich. That was Tesla's mentor. Tesla, well, he actually lived 100 years before Tesla, but every time you see Tesla posing for a photograph, especially in the early days, he's holding a book. That's who wrote that book. He didn't hold that book for the camera just to be glamorous and pretend to be an intellectual. That's our context nowadays. People held books, it's because they really advocated that book. That book was a part of their worldview. He was holding a book of Roger Boscovich, and if your brain is big enough, if you can handle it, read that guy. It's mind-blowing. And, the metaphysics that the ancients had don't really contradict anything in modern physics, except modern physics denies the existence of the ether. They think that they'll tell you there's a vacuum or there's nothing. But you need to know about the universe, what I believe. And I advocate this view, and you can argue with me if you want to. I'll let you waste a whole lot of my time unless you use logical consistency and reason. Maybe you can sway me, but I doubt it. Maybe you can. But there is no void. There is no nothing. Everything is full of ether, and ether transmits information, and ether makes energy in certain ways at certain points. Perturbances in the ether. Now you put some permanent magnets around some coils and spin them. You've made a perturbance in the ether. It makes energy. Energy makes matter. Matter is made out of energy, and energy comes from the ether, and ether isn't made out of anything. Nothing detectable. It's the logos. The instructions for everything. That's why water can communicate
different hundreds of miles apart. Now you look at physics, they have experiments like that. They don't know how it happens, so they explain it with relativity. Oh, yeah, we have laws of physics, except when this happens, well, that's relativity. It's because the laws of physics that we believe in are violated, but it's all relative, you see. That's a pretty crappy way of explaining things. That's contrary to science. Ether explains it, but they can't believe in ether because ether is God's logos. Whether you want to call it God or not, whether you believe it's Jehovah or Allah or the prime motivating factor of something. I don't know, it's all language. It's an interesting thing to get into, but I wasn't here to talk about that. I was talking about political power. We have the technology to make a political architecture to protect people from depredations of wicked people and greedy people and corporations that want to enslave you. We could protect ourselves from that. That's what it was supposed to be for. And I think we did have different architectures that did that over the years. Originally, the church, it was corrupted. Democracy, it was corrupted. Communism, socialism, fascism, they were all political architectures that were supposed to protect people from what? Class enemies. Americans, especially conservatives, they think any limits on the activities of corporations and billionaires is socialism, and socialism is bad. Well, look what it's done to you. It's not the communists that are doing this to you. It all comes from corporations. Antifa and all those guys, they get corporate money. Common Core, what is this thing? The critical race theory, the gender theories, they all come from corporations. They make money out of it. They make a lot of money if your kids are forced to get hormone therapy in school, to go to school, that suppresses their adolescence until they can get old enough to talk to a transgender facilitator to counsel them on what gender they want to be. Then they have to be on hormones the rest of their life. Cha-ching! Pharmaceuticals like that. That's where this stuff's coming from. It's not the communists. The communists, and for my communist friends, forgive. I have communist friends. I have friends that are full-tail Bolsheviks. They've changed. They've taken away the anti-religious platforms and other internal contradictions, and they're different. I'm not saying they're right, but they don't have an answer for me. But they respect my opinions, and I respect theirs as long as they're honest and they're not trying to pull something. But Leon Trotsky got $20 million from who? The Rothschild banks, through Jacob Schiff. One of the world's foremost plutocrats gave him money to establish a dictatorship of the proletariat in Russia. It's a trick. It's always been a trick. Predatory capitalists funded communism. They fund socialism. The Fabian Society were all your hoity-toity posh twits in England. Like our little friend that was just talking earlier, you know, the Earl of Tottsbury or whatever. Clive Worcestershire. Yes. It's a trick. It's dialectic steering. Communism, capitalism, left and right. As long as you believe in it, they steer society where they want it to go. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. And they can divide it in how many places they want to, if you let them. I mean, even communism, socialism, it turned into communism on the right. Oh, excuse me, fascism on the right and communism on the left, and different flavors of everything in between. Fascism is a right-wing ideology in the context of socialism. What Americans call right-wing is more like Jeffersonian liberalism, and but they confuse it with Nazis. That was intentional after the war. The left wanted to smear the right, so they associated with Nazis. But the right is really liberalism. Depends on what context you're talking in, because things just keep getting divided and divided, so these little steering wheels appear.
You need to get beyond that. You need to get beyond right and left. Otherwise, you're being steered. Your Ben Shapiro's and your Charlie Kirks and all these other people, they're only giving you part of the truth, and they're very limited. They don't want you to bring you there. They want to keep you in a place where, okay, we'll let you go this far, and that's it. Lock you into this ditch where you go along with the left and right paradigm. And then you have people trying to warmonger too. Oh, the communists did this to us. It's the Chi-Coms. It started Kurt. I'm not going to say it, the present thing. Yeah, the Chi-Coms did it. They took our jobs. No, your politicians and financial people gave them to them. You can't blame them for taking it. Dismantled the U.S., dismantled the industry. It's all part of a whole. There is a plan. There's a big plan. They don't like skilled labor. They have to negotiate with people, or they'll shut their factories down. No. And they can't replace you with robots. They're going to make you into robots. And it's horrifying. Anyway, this has just turned into a ramble, but I'm shilling for my book, too. I think it's sold like 20 copies in 7 years. It's very cheap. It's like $4. Just Google it, find it, buy it from your favorite provider. It's an electronic book. I don't have physical copies. I've translated it into Russian, but I'm very unhappy with the translation. Maybe I'll get it out eventually one of these days. I considered it just a series of thought experiments from a blue collar's perspective about a fourth political theory. We need another political theory to get away from the dialectic steering. Need a new one. That'll change the world, baby. And the new one is based, and will be based, on accountability, a local accountability of all political power. The police, even the media, needs to be accountable. You have a completely unaccountable media that's been co-opted, been captured by the corporations. Everything can be accountable using the same technology that they use against us. Oh, I gotta stop doing that. That's kind of creepy, isn't it? Using the same technology that they use against us. Everything can be monitored, everything can be archived, everything can be controlled easily. Meetings have to be on camera and put on the internet. Why do you need secret stuff in financial meetings? Why does it have to be secret? It's your money, isn't it? You could have local militias of people that are friends and work well together, that train and have weapons, all the weapons they need. Anti-aircraft, everything. They don't want that. They don't want that at all. They want you to go to war against somebody. Well, you have a meeting. Is this a just war? Are these people really our enemies? Is this in our best interest? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? The just war doctrine. They used to have that, didn't they? When you're sending citizen soldiers off to do something. Well, you can fool them and think there's a threat. Oh, you gotta get rid of this dictator. And it's nothing at all to do with the truth. It's opening up free resources for global corporations that want to enslave you. Thank you for your service, Melvin. That's another one. We're going to talk about that too. I know a lot of Afghan vets, and I've talked to them. And you may not know this if you're out there in suburban Fuglyville. And I know you want to be good and support the military and everything, but there's some of them, and I think probably a lot of them, when you say that, especially their combat vets, thank you for protecting our freedoms. I think they want to punch your freaking lights out for that, because that's the lie that got them over there. Not protecting your freedoms. There's no such thing, and they know it. And you're LARPing and virtue signaling doing that. For the most, I don't want to be judgy. I mean, some of you have very pure hearts and you're just doing what you think is right. But think about what you're doing. It's a lie. Stop lying. I've talked to these people. And some of them really do, makes their skin crawl when you do that, because they know it's a lie. Some of them double down. Yeah, I'm a hero. I'll protect your freedoms. I had guys tell me, you better shut up, boy, because I saw my friends die protecting your freedom of speech. I'll say what I told them. I said, my freedom of speech comes from God Almighty. And I pay whatever the price it takes to say what I think needs to be said. You don't have anything to do with it, boy. They get fat heads and they start LARPing as heroes and thinking they're above everybody else. They're citizen soldiers. I respect heroism. I've seen heroism. I went to a camp and there's a kid there, and his commanding officer was bragging on him. Says, "Look at that guy right there." So we got in a firefight, and there was everything flying at us, and his 50 jammed. And this is a farm boy from the Midwest. And he said, the guy could hear him talking. He's telling me about it. He says he pulled out his file and he started taking that thing down and filing it. They get a dent on the bolt or the slide on it, and it'll jam up. And you got to take it off or it won't work right again. He's there filing on that thing like he's in his daddy's shop on the farm, just as calm. Bullets flying around. Yeah, young men want to be heroes. They want to do heroic things if they haven't been feminized by their society, if they have had their hormones tampered with by eating too much soy. Young men naturally want to do things like that. It isn't really something exceptional. It happens, it should be honored, but it doesn't make you better than other people. It doesn't put you above them. You're a citizen soldier. You're one of us. And when they send you after us, you better remember that. Look at what the Australians were doing just recently. Cops included. I'll include cops on that too. You're not above us. You're not some superheroes that are, quashing people that your minders told you to. If you get into that, you're in real bad territory. Morally and physically. That stuff comes back to bite you if you keep up with it. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. You can disagree with me all you want. I'll still be here. We'll talk. Anyway, Uncle Bildy signing out. Until next time. Enjoy your weather. I enjoy mine. Later.